Hello, my little havoc wreakers. Thank you so much for listening to the first season of 2008, and get prepared for an absolutely smashing season 2, hopefully coming sometime in late 2026 or early 2027. In the meantime, show your allegiance to yours truly by going to atypicalartist.co/merch and get a Havoc Reeker button or a Wreak Some Havoc sticker. They are absolutely fabulous. Remember to always go out there and wreak some havoc. All right, back to the show.
Hello, Havoc Wreakers, and welcome back to our little dose of hope every month. If you're just joining us, I'm Lauren Shippen, creator of 2008, and in an effort to balance out all the shitty stuff the audio drama tackles, I talk with incredible artists, creators, and activists who are grappling with our twisted reality and doing hella cool stuff to counteract the bad. And this month, I'm so excited to talk to one of my favorite writers and a very, very good friend, Gabriel Urbina, who has been making audio fiction for a very long time, and all shows that
an alarmingly long time, really.
An alarmingly long time that will make you feel every possible emotion. His most recent show, The Harbingers, has me all caps texting him constantly. Welcome, Gabrielle. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me here to your place of pure sound and thought. And thank you for the all caps messages. That's usually how I can tell that, an episode is working, when I start to get very angry messages from Lauren. I'm like, good. Yes. It's
Exactly.
doing what it was supposed to.
I love it. I love being in so much pain from your writing, and yeah, I have been in so much pain from your writing for over 10 years now. I mean, do you want to tell our listeners kind of how you got started in audio drama, what you've made before getting to The Harbingers?
Absolutely. The sort of, very fast journey, or the very fast version of the journey, is I got started making audio dramas my first year out of college. It sort of was this way to get writing and get directing and get working with actors. And so me and some friends from university made a science fiction show called Wolf 359, which has found 1 or 2 listeners throughout the years and is kind of now considered a cult classic within certain parts of the field. And since then, I've gotten to make some other audio fiction independent shows. I've gotten to work with some of the giants in the field. I've done some work for Audible. I've done some work for Spotify. I most recently had a romantic comedy, that I created and directed on Audible called Hit Singles. That is kind of the biggest, most ambitious project that I've ever done. And now I'm kind of turning my attention back to the world of independent fiction, sort of creator-owned productions with The Harbingers, which I'm making with my friends over at Audacious Machine Creative.
And I'm so excited to dig into The Harbingers, but I do want to say, yes, Wolf 59, one of the best to ever do it, and Hit Singles is a show that I've listened to multiple times because it's so delightful. It is not as pain-inducing as some of your other work, but it still definitely induces some pain. And it's just a rollicking good time. But The Harbingers, I think, is an incredibly unique show. And if you were going to give the elevator pitch, if you were talking to somebody at a party and they asked you what your current podcast was about, how would you describe it to them?
The elevator pitch for The Harbingers is you take off a world that is basically our world with our current level of technology, our current level of reality, sort of something that looks very similar to today. And imagine in that world, 2 people suddenly get magic powers. Like all of a sudden, one guy has the magical ability to teleport things. One woman has the magical ability to read minds and put things into people's minds. What would happen? In my opinion, what would happen is that they would kind of overnight become the most famous people in the world. And the show kind of grapples them trying to understand their magic powers, trying to understand what it means to get that famous that quickly, what it means to have that kind of influence in the modern world. And bubbling underneath all of that, just for a little bit of fun, they were both in grad school together. And back when they were in grad school together, they had kind of a messy, will they, won't they, romantic relationship. And the show is kind of all of those things put in a pressure cooker. And it sort of follows, the first season follows 5 years in their life from when they discovered magic to when they both end up getting involved in a rather big disaster that happens because of their magic. That's kind of the very quick bird's eye overview of the show.
Yes. And I mean, truly one of the best and worst first dates that I've ever heard in audio fiction. It's incredible. And we are going to hear the pilot episode in a few minutes. But there is something that I think this show does that is fascinating to me. And well, there's a bunch of things that the show does that are fascinating to me. And I want to start with the way that the show is formatted, because you do have this like incredibly epic, far-reaching story that touches on magic and ancient civilizations and grad school and presidential elections and bad first dates. And
each of those things more intimidating than the last one. You know, I think that was an escalating level
I listed them
of
in
the
order of
anxiety
severity
that it causes in my life. Yeah.
Exactly. And when we meet these characters, we are meeting them essentially in the context of a deposition. And I'm curious what prompted you to start there, to start after the worst thing has happened and these characters are having to, I mean, we're still kind of figuring out exactly, you know, where all of this is going to go in terms of the legal ramifications of this, but having to sort of explain and perhaps justify how they got to the point that they got to. Why start there? Why start with a legal drama in a show about magic powers?
So there's 3 reasons for it. One is I love legal dramas. I think the trials are inherently sort of a fun place in which to put characters. They reveal conflict. They reveal different dynamics. They are kind of ongoing exercises in power dynamics, which is ultimately what the show is all about. So it is always sort of one of those things where if you can't put a character in those types of situations, I tend to find them really interesting places to put characters. Number 2, once you sort of go, I want to tell a show that covers a long time. And again, just our first 16 episode first season, it's 5 years of time. And not only that, but it's not just here's one thing that happened and then another and then another. The show kind of jumps around. It doesn't always show you things in chronological order. You sometimes get things from one perspective and then you get it from another. There's kind of a lot of playing in time. And when you realize that you're trying to do that, you need something within the show to organize it. You need sort of a thing that can go, and now we're going to talk about this, and this is the thing that we're going to zoom into for this week. Here is why today we're talking about how did you get magic powers? And then the next week, that same organizing principle can go, and now we're going to talk about the first, say, demonstration that you did with your magic powers. And then the week after that, we're going to go all the way back to like this other thing. And that has sort of been invaluable in kind of a show as complicated as this. I think that if you didn't have those conversations where the characters are talking to their lawyer and getting a little bit of that lay of the land, it would be almost impossible to follow the show. You'd just be like, where were we? Why did we just jump 3 years? Did we go backwards? Did we go forwards? What's going on?
Totally.
And then the last thing that I really like about doing it this way is that it enables me to be awful and just terribly mean. Because one of the best things about a deposition is that you can have a lot of things where are like, we're not talking about that right now. Stay on target. Shut up about that. And for a show like The Harbingers, which has a lot of things happening off camera, a lot of things that are like standing in the wings, getting ready to be brought onto the stage, you can have a lot of like, you know, the characters kind of going, you know, but hey, if you thought that that was bad, don't forget what John did. And then the lawyer's like, we're not talking about John right now. Don't worry about it. We'll get to John. And as an audience member, it can just be like, who's John? What did John do? What is happening? And I've had so much fun with those kinds of puzzle box shows, with these kinds of things where you're catching glimpses of something in the periphery of the story and trying to put it all together and figure out what's coming, that I really, really wanted to tell a show like that. And that kind of deposition framing has been invaluable in being able to tell a story like that.
And it works exceptionally well. I mean, both from an organizational standpoint, it is very easy to follow this incredibly complex, far-reaching story. And then also, yes, you are very mean all the time.
All the time.
And there are so many things that pop up where I'm like, wait a second, you can't just say that and then move on. Hold on, let's go back.
Right.
But of course, I know that, eventually we will get there. But you mentioned the power dynamics, and that is something I really want to dig into, because I think that is obviously, yes, central to what the show is doing, and also, something that I think is interesting. Both of us spent 2025 making shows that are grappling with the idea of, like, how do you operate in the current modern world when you have a great amount of power, but it's not necessarily power where you can, like, snap your fingers and have everything be exactly the way that you want it to be. And so I'll try to organize my questions here. So Amy and Adam, the two main characters,
yes,
each have, as you mentioned, like, these very specific powers, and they also have very specific responses to having those powers. They both,
Correct.
as you said, become incredibly famous, but what they do with that fame, how they view their responsibility when it comes to their powers, is very different and causes a lot of conflict between them. And so I'd love for you to just talk a little bit about how you made the determination, not just of the powers that they would have, but their particular relationships to that power. And in figuring that out as you were developing these characters, how related those two things were. Like, or I guess maybe a better way to ask that question would be, what came first? Was it that Adam had the power that he had, and then it made sense for him to feel the way that he felt? Or was it sort of figuring out how would Adam approach having power and what power is going to make sense in that context?
Oh, I'm going to annoy you so much because
man.
it's all interrelated. It's all sort of like bundled up, and and there wasn't really something that came first. It all gradually emerged out of the mist, because when the show was in development, for a while, it really was just like, they both have magic. They are both kind of Doctor Strange. They are both basically John Constantine. They can do all these things if they can figure out the incantations. And at a certain point, it became kind of very clear that it was like, no, what is interesting about this is if they are set up as kind of ideological opposites. And so they a little bit need to be more... I think like an early metaphor was Professor X and Magneto, sort of something where it's like, they both have a lot of power, but boy, can they do a lot of very different things. And at a certain point, it just kind of became very clear that it was like, oh, she wants to change all these things in the world and would love to not care about how people think of her. We need to give her the ability to change what people think. He is so careful about changing anything in the world, and is so hesitant to do anything, and is so consumed by this idea of, how am I going to be seen? What is the perspective going to be on me? Let's give him the ability to kind of brute force move anything. Like, it is literally he can do the thing that she would like to do, and vice versa. Sort of the personalities and the thing that they each long for, the thing that they would each want to do, was actually given to the other person. So it is kind of all very bundled up together. It is sort of personality defining limitation, defining power, defining thematic, defining dynamic. It is all sort of in conversation with one another. And it all kind of emerged as like, all kind of at the same time.
That makes a lot of sense to me, and I think that shows in the story with how richly realized and complex these characters are. I mean, I love how much I love these characters, and also how much they frustrate me.
They're both awful. They're both awful.
But like in such a wonderful, real way, right? Like I feel like I know these people. I feel like I've met these people. And I think, I think one of the things that you do so well, and that is really served by the deposition sort of time jumping format, is seeing these two people on that fateful first date being your, prototypical grad students, and having like grand ideas about how the world works and about how power works, and then seeing them
and being
years
so
into the
sure
future.
they're right, just being like, this is definitely the way that the world is. I guarantee it.
Yeah. And then seeing them kind of not necessarily compromise their morals, but compromise the ways in which they go about things, to sort of find themselves in unexpected places because of their power, and also to, get to the point of having power to potentially change things, and
absolutely
choosing not to do that. I mean, like, I find Amy such a fascinating person. I don't want to spoil too much about the show, but she is somebody who, as a grad student is, I mean, like, so often she's such a great character. She'll like go off on like a rant about something, and I'm just sitting there being like, yes, go off, girl. Like, she says so much of, I think, what like the audience and what most people, feel right now about billionaires, and about the way that our world has been overtaken by greed and wealth inequality and all of these things. And presumably she could, if she wanted to, really plant thoughts into people's heads and change their minds. And instead she does choose essentially to become a performer, and do that as if you were going to be not very polite about it, as a party trick. And so I'm curious, in kind of developing her and her relationship with her power, like, is it something that, like, if you had that power to place thoughts into people's heads in that way, how would you use it? And what is it about the way that Amy uses it that sort of speaks to the greater narrative about how power functions when somebody actually has it?
Oh, what a great question. And I'll sort of take a slightly long road to answer it, and talk about what the sort of preface into the question a little bit too, which is that, yes, this is kind of a show where in the first episode, you have a date scene where both characters kind of go, this is the way that you should behave in the world, and anybody that behaves otherwise kind of sucks. Like, this is the way to be. And when you have something like that, of course, the entire show is going to be about, let me put increasingly weird, increasingly intense, increasingly extreme things in front of you. And let's see where that position bends. Let's see where that position breaks. Let's see where you hold fast. And it's not always, if I'm doing my job as a writer properly, it's not always, oh my God, I hope that he doesn't compromise his values. Sometimes you're going like, no, don't fall into temptation. And then other times you're going, no, this is not the time to be willful. For God's sakes, fall into temptation. Because, it gets complicated, and a lot of things start to sort of, have an effect on them. And one of the sort of, now getting into Amy and getting into her powers with all of that said, one of the things that is eternally fascinating to me is kind of discussions about, is the shadow of power actually power? If we, and this gets into kinds of all sorts of annoying, like, money is just an idea, man, like, we let these people do what they want just because we have given them the idea of money. And I find all of that extreme of it somewhat frustrating, but I think that it is very interesting to sort of go, what is power and what are the limits of power, but when is the image of power almost as good as actual power? And so both Adam and Amy have magic, but it is both a very zoomed in kind of magic and also a very limited amount of magic, and a very kind of particular type of magic. And so Amy, as a telepath, it is very important, for example, she cannot Manchurian candidate anyone. She cannot go, like, I'm going to put a spell on this person and I'm going to control him for the next year. She can put a spell on him, and as long as she's concentrating on the spell, as long as the spell is there on her mind, she can define what the person is thinking. And so at a certain point, presumably sooner or later, she'll at the very least need to go to sleep. the person will kind of go, why the heck have I been thinking about pink elephants for the past 14 hours? And if they were doing something that was wildly out of character, they might go like, wait a minute, why did I just do something that betrays my fundamental nature? And so she kind of has this situation where it's a little bit like having a nuke where, like, you could probably make someone do something that was against their fundamental ideas and really take control of them. But you probably only get to do that once, because once you do it once, boy, people are going to like have some strong feelings about the fact that you did it. And if you really are doing it for someone that does not want to behave the way you want them to behave, it's going to be very visible. And so she kind of goes, okay, if I can't do that, what can I do? Oh, wait a minute. I can give people emotional experiences at a greater depth and at a greater level of efficiency than any artist in the world. Can I turn myself into basically Taylor Swift? And what power does being Taylor Swift have? Like, what power does being the biggest entertainer in the world have? And in a way, does that let me change minds in a more meaningful and permanent way than hypnotizing someone? Ongoing discussion within the show of how effective that strategy is. But that has kind of been sort of like what that person ended up doing. Whereas her counterpart, Adam, is a little bit like, no, you just, you study, you like focus on what you can do, and you just like go in depth on what it is. And until you figured everything out, you stay out of things.
Yeah. And, we see the limitations of that as well in terms of Adam's capacity for staying out of things. And to speak about Adam a little bit, it's interesting that you bring up Taylor Swift, because I think that's like a perfect comparison, because Taylor Swift does not have the power to, like change everybody's mind at once to vote a particular way, but she does have the power to get people to register to vote. Like when she posted about that in, I can't remember which election it was, like a bunch of people signed up to vote. And
like sort of a, like, if you looked at it on a national level, it was like, oh, that like point in the graph where it turned, that was Taylor getting involved.
Exactly. And that kind of soft power, for lack of a better term, and specifically when it comes to, like young minds and sort of like molding people, who are still developing their ideas. Like for Adam, I think it's interesting that he chooses to essentially remain in academia, and he rejects that he's become the cool guy in academia, but he's still like it's interesting. I think and also I think that the gender dynamics that are at play in the show are really fascinating as well. Like not only does Adam not want to engage in having the magical powers that he has and what that might mean for his role in the world, he doesn't necessarily even want to engage with the power that he already had in his position in the world.
Yes.
And that's so frustrating at times, and also so relatable and understandable as well, because it's like he didn't ask for any of this, right?
No.
Like we hear the origin story of how he came into his magical powers, and he also had no choice in being born a man and in being intelligent and having these sort of just natural advantages, and so it is a little bit like this responsibility has been thrust upon him, and he didn't ask for it, and so why would he pick it up and carry it, which I think is something that a lot more people can relate to than they want to realize.
I will even give you a very, very, very minor spoiler. In an upcoming episode, there is a moment in which Adam goes, I'm an archaeologist. I got into archaeology because it's finished. It was supposed to be a thing. This was not supposed to be a moving target. This was not supposed to be a thing that would come to life and all of a sudden have all of these impacts and all these politics and all these things involved in it. It was just supposed to be this thing that I could study and get involved in the study of it. And that, I think, was something that I wrote, and I was like, yeah, there's so much of that in this guy. He makes a lot of bad decisions, but it's hard not to sympathize with him on some level when it's just like, I just wanted to study some ancient tombs, man. Like, that's really all that I wanted to do.
Exactly. And the fact that like his power being what it is, he's still as we experience him through the years, learning how it works, and it has these unintended consequences sometimes.
Yes.
And yeah, the I hadn't really even thought about him and the fact that he is an archaeologist, because it's like, even in studying archaeology, like, you cannot change the trajectory of that society that you're studying. You can only change what we know about it, and
You
maybe
can
our
change
interpretation
how
of
it's
it.
understood now. Exactly. But
Right.
yeah.
And that's only so consequential. It's like it might be consequential to a specific group of people. Maybe it will, allow us to understand something a bit more about how society works, but it's not necessarily going to set it's not going to be, Franz Ferdinand, right? Like, it's not going to sort of
Right.
be this event that sets in motion, the worst war to date at that point. And I really do sympathize with Adam, because I think that it's that, that the no ethical consumption under capitalism thing, where it's like, okay, this one
100%.
tiny decision of like getting a coffee has all of these consequences that I cannot foresee, that I cannot control, but that I am a willing participant in if I make this choice. And so then the easier thing to do is just not make any choice at all. And I do sympathize with that, as much as, like, I am also on Amy's side when she yells at him about not doing things.
As it's funny. It is very much an evolution of my first show, Wolf 359, where the central dynamic really was a, kind of a lackadaisical, very aloof, very sort of weaponized incompetence communications officer having tension with the person that was in charge of the space station where they both were, who was someone that was by the book, and we're going to do things according to the schedule, and I am painfully lawful neutral, and we're just going to like do everything the way that it's supposed to be. And when we were making Wolf 359, people would ask me, are you Eiffel or are you Minkowski? And I would go, you don't understand. The reason why I can write the show is because these are the two hemispheres of my brain in conversation with one another. And Adam and Amy are, it's the same thing 10 years later of kind of, like, am I Adam? Am I Amy? I'm both, unfortunately. For better and for worse, these are two sides of me in conversation with one another, and I can sympathize and be so frustrated with both of them so often.
Absolutely. And I think that that's what makes the character writing so compelling and so great, is that I really do love both of these characters equally, and I relate to them equally. And also, like, the sort of like, a feeling that I have for them is so much more about the world that the show's in conversation with than it is about them, because ultimately,
Yes.
like, they are these two just like very real people that they're the two wolves inside of me, right? Like, but they're existing in the same world that I'm existing in, and I mean, obviously they have magic, so it's different in that way, but like, so much about it is the same, and we are all struggling against that, which is incredibly just fury inducing.
Very much so, absolutely.
And I want people to hear these incredibly complex, rich characters. But first, I do want to ask you the question that I ask everybody that we have to come on and talk about stuff on the 2000 Late feed, which is, what is giving you hope in those like moments? What is giving you, Gabriel Urbina, hope for the world? Whether that's an activist, a piece of art, an organization, what's making it all a little bit easier?
I mean, I'll tell you this much. Getting to make this show is giving me a lot of hope. Like, the fact that we are able to make this show, the fact that we're able to make it quickly, I think that you and I have spent a lot of times in the minds of working on shows for huge companies, which is incredible and an enormous privilege in so many ways. But it can then sort of turn into this exercise in, it's going to be how many years before the show comes out? And to get to then make something where it's me and it's two of my friends making it, and it's this amazing cast of indie people that are committed to it. And if that group of people is happy, we make it and it comes out. And the fact that it's getting a reaction and that people are hearing it and that people are going, this is making me think about this aspect of the world in a different way. This is making me think about this aspect of politics in a different way. This is making me think about religion in a different way. All of that fills me with so much hope. Now, mind you, oftentimes the reactions that we get are more people going, oh my God, why did Amy do that? Or, oh my God, why is Adam such a tool? But that gives me hope in a different way as well. So just being able to do that just being able to make this show gives me a lot of hope. I will also say the things that gives me hopes. So far, 2026 has been an excellent year for truly deranged bonkers movies. I literally just saw Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die last night. And between that, Send Help, Hoppers, How to Make a Killing, it's all of these movies that are like big and crazy and deranged and feels like it was a bug in whatever software the universe has to stop big, strange movies getting made seems to just be getting more and more pronounced right now. And so that gives me a lot of hope. Like, it feels like it's a good year for weird art right now, and I'm very here for it.
I love that. And I am very excited for people to hear your gloriously weird art that will make them scream. Before people listen to the episode, Gabrielle, is there anything else that you would like them to know about the show? Things to keep an ear out for, anything at all?
I'll say this much. I think that the first episode is a very good, very fun handshake into what the show does. It introduces the plot, it introduces the characters, it introduces the setting. I think that it really sets you up to have a fun time. The show eventually starts to do a different thing, which is that it sort of starts to develop a bigger story that is happening in parallel to Adam and Amy. And you catch your first big glimpse of that in the third episode of the show. So if you are at all intrigued and you are at all kind of thinking that this might be a show that sounds like it's up your alley, listen to the first 3 episodes. And I think that at the end of the third episode, you're going to know for sure that The Harbingers is a ride that you want to go on, because you're going to start to get that sense of what the big thing that the show is going to do is. And I think that it's very exciting and very different than what is going on in a lot of other shows right now.
Completely agreed. I think that, yeah, you are going to want to be on that ride all the way to the top for sure. So here is the first episode of Harbingers, which I just know is going to induce all of you to go listen to the entire first season. That is still actually, as of this recording, and when you hear this episode, we'll be releasing the last few episodes of the first season. So there's more to come. But thank you so much, Gabrielle, for coming on to chat with me and for making this amazing show.
My pleasure. Anytime.
Miss Skinner will be right with you, Dr. Blackwell. We're sorry for the delay.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Can I get you anything while you wait? Water? A cup of coffee?
I'm all right, Miss Pfeiffer. Thank you. Was there something else?
No, that's everything. Thank you. Well, actually, look, I just want to say, I know it probably feels like the whole world's against you right now, but there are people who get what you did and why you did it.
Thank you, Miss Pfeiffer. appreciate you saying that.
I mean it. If you hadn't been there, if you hadn't done what... they're saying that it could have gotten so much worse than...
It got bad enough, Miss Pfeiffer. We let it get bad enough.
I know, but still.
Thank you, Miss Pfeiffer. I think that's more than enough.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Is there anything?
I think we're all set. I'll ring if we need anything.
Yes. Ms. Skinner? Dr. Blackwell?
Please excuse Erica, Dr. Blackwell. She's a wonderful assistant, but unfortunately she's still a bit...
Naive?
Optimistic. Still a bit young and optimistic. I'll fix that in due course. But in the meantime, welcome to Skinner, DeVries, and Wiseman, Dr. Blackwell. My name is Claudia Skinner. It's a pleasure to finally meet you.
Yes, same here. Thank you for making the time. You're young. Young to have your name on the side of the building, I mean.
It's my father's name. He started the firm back in 2004.
And so you...
Graduated summa cum laude from Brown and went on to get law degrees in both Cambridge, England and Cambridge, Massachusetts? Absolutely. I assure you, Dr. Blackwell, you are in excellent hands. Do you have any questions before we get started?
Yes. How much do you charge?
My fees are being taken care of. You don't need to worry about that.
That's not what I'm asking. I'm asking... A personal injury lawyer is what, $250 an hour? Give or take? If I was trying to get a divorce, that's $400. It's $600 an hour for an immigration attorney, and $9 for the kind of lawyer I'd need if I had shot a man in Reno just to watch him die. So how much are you, with your Alexander McQueen suit and your name on the side of the building and your naive assistant you're turning to the dark side, how much are you charging per hour to sit here and talk to me?
It's more than any of the numbers you just quoted, I can say that much.
How much more?
Dr. Blackwell, is there a reason you need to know this right now?
Is there a reason why you're not just telling me?
You know, there's this story my father used to tell to his clients. He'd go, once upon a time, there was a young scorpion who wanted to cross a river. Unfortunately, he couldn't swim. So he asked a passing turtle to carry him on his back. The turtle hesitated, but eventually agreed after the scorpion promised not to sting him. But when they were halfway through the river, a terrible impulse fell upon the scorpion. He brought his stinger down and
as they both start drowning, the scorpion says, "Don't look at me, it's in my nature. And you knew I was a scorpion when you agreed to take me across the river." Yeah, I know that one.
Actually, as the scorpion's stinger bounced harmlessly off the turtle's hard shell, he found the other animal looking back at him over his shoulder. And the turtle just said, "Tell me, you want to fuck around some more, or do you want me to get you across this fucking river?" That was a story about how sometimes you can just let people help you.
A frog. It's usually a frog when I've heard that story.
Well, let me assure you, Dr. Blackwell, you're not dealing with a frog. And let me remind you, you are the center of an unprecedented disaster, one in which people died. The only reason you haven't been charged with a hysterical number of criminal charges is because no one is quite sure of how the law interfaces with your unique circumstance. But the government's catching up. They're doing a congressional hearing, the kind that's going to decide how a lot of laws are going to work in this country, and they have been kind enough to invite you to participate. And when I say invite, I mean subpoena. This hearing is either going to go exceptionally well for you, or it is going to lead to you being invited to see the inside of a courtroom in a trial which you will have no chance of winning. So finally, allow me to ask you, would you like me to get you across the river, or would you prefer to fuck around some more?
Let's get across the river.
Let's. This is Claudia Skinner, handling case MGR 831. This is information prep session number 1. It is November 7th, 2030. Dr. Blackwell, just so we can get the formalities out of the way, could you please state your full name, as well as the capacity in which you are known as a public figure?
Yes. My name is Dr. Adam Blackwell, and I am the first human being with real scientifically confirmed magic powers. I am the most powerful man in the world. Audacious Machine Creative presents The Harbingers, created by Gabriel Urbina. Episode 1. I'd love to change the world.
All right, Dr. Blackwell, why don't we start at the beginning?
Sure. I was born April 15th, 1998, in Portland, Oregon. The house where I grew up had yellow shutters and a white fence. The nursery was... Oh, what? You're allowed to be cute and I'm not? Is that how it works?
That is exactly how it works. Let me be more precise. You were a graduate student at Sinclair University in Chicago, yes?
Yes.
You were a master's candidate in the archaeology program?
Technically the anthropology department, but yes.
Why?
Why? Why did I want to study archaeology? Is that relevant?
It could be. If you chose to study archaeology because it was your beloved father's dying wish, very relevant. If you were convinced there were ancient secrets buried somewhere out there that would help us fight the rise of fascism, absolutely. If you became an archaeologist solely out of your deep-seated love for the films of the Indiana Jones series, that can stay between the two of us.
I liked languages. I thought I was going to study linguistics and go on to work as a translator, but then my second year in college, I took an anthropology class and I just fell in love.
Yes, that would be From Rapa Nui to Harbingers, an introductory survey to the forgotten empires of the world, taught by Julian McCandless, who went on to be your mentor and chief dissertation advisor.
That class changed my life. It showed me a new way of thinking about the world, and it taught me...
Tell me about Amelia Sterling.
Amy, Miss Sterling, was another grad student at Sinclair. We started the master's program at the same time.
Did you think much of her?
Miss Sterling was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, but she could be stubborn. It could be difficult to get a word in edgewise around her.
Would you call her a rival?
Okay, well, here's what you need to understand. If you were interested in the study of ancient cultures, that grad program at Sinclair was the place. It was one of the best funded programs. It had some of the best professors, some of the best opportunities. But there wasn't enough of all of the above to go around. Anytime one of us got a research project approved, or a seat on a field expedition, or even time with our advisors, we were taking it away from one of the other students. In as much as you could say it about me and Amy, you could say it about all of us. We were all rivals.
And yet, you didn't go on a date with any of the other students in the program, did you?
Oh my, come on. That's inbounds? How do you even know about that?
This isn't the hard part, you know. Lord knows we haven't gotten anywhere near the hard part. It's all going to come out, Adam. And I'm going to be the friendliest person who's going to ask you about it. So, pretty please, stop fucking around and answer the question.
1. I went on one date with her. I was 26, and I thought it might be a good idea, and...
Did you find her attractive?
The Venn diagram between the people who like Miss Sterling and the people who like oxygen is very close to being a circle.
Dr. Blackwell.
Yes, I found her attractive. And we went out one time. Must have been April of 2025.
And how did it go? What did the two of you talk about?
Sinclair University, April 2025.
Okay. Did you know that right now on this planet there are 7 people who could save the world?
7 people who... What?
7 people, all with the power to save the world.
Right. Well, common sense says that cannot possibly be true.
And yet...
And you're not talking like people with their fingers on nuclear buttons who are choosing not to press them, thus preventing anyone
No. Fuck that. That sucks. I'm talking active, making things that are broken not be broken, saving the world.
All right. I'm intrigued. Who are these 7 real-world superheroes?
Paul Berthold, Makoto Kamiki, Simon Godowski, Jerome Eckerberg, Jacqueline St. Pierre, Carlos Luis Mendez, and Zakir Mujambar.
Ah, the 7 richest men in the world.
6 richest men and its richest woman. Thank you very much.
Okay, sure. And the way they save the world is...
Simon Godowski has a net worth of $210 billion. You want to know how much NGOs estimate the yearly cost of ending world hunger would be?
From the way you're presenting that question, I'm guessing 200 billion.
No, way high. Conservative estimate, $10 billion a year. Easy.
What? That cannot possibly be
Extreme
true.
poverty is even cheaper. Threshold is set at those living for $3.20 a day.
There's people living for
Yes,
$3.
there are people living at $3.20 a day. Bumping approximately 900 million people up to that level costs about $1.8 billion. Chump change.
How do you just know
Clean water
this?
across the whole world, $50 billion. Child health, about $400 a year per child. Call that another $50 billion. Homelessness is more complicated, but local experts estimate that $13 billion would end homelessness in San Francisco. That's not solving the issue globally, but
No, still, that's a start. All of which begs the question.
if there are people who have the ability to just snap their fingers and save the world, why is the world not saved?
Besides the obvious reason.
It's the whole... obvious. What obvious reason?
Well, just because Jacqueline St. Pierre has a net worth of $200 billion, it doesn't mean she has it sitting in a bank somewhere. It's in, stocks and bonds and company valuation.
Okay, sure, fine, but that's a road bump. If you have something worth $50 billion, theoretically, you should be able to sell it and then you'd have $50 billion, yeah?
I'm sort of scared to disagree with you right now.
Good. That means my whole shtick is doing its job. But to get back to the real question, there is no fucking good reason. If someone has that much money, that much power, and there's so much broken in the world, they have a moral imperative to do something about it. So, really, from a social, pragmatic point of view, I don't think there's a way to justify the existence of any of them.
So we're gonna eat the rich.
Just the 7 richest. That's all I'm asking. Let's eat those 7 people and feed the world. Oh, holy shit. Put a beer and a half in me and I went off on a whole thing. Wow.
It was very impressive.
Still, though, I'm sorry. I clearly do not know how to do first dates.
It's fine. How do you know all of this stuff?
I like actuarial tables and I have a good head for numbers. Even when I'm outraged. No. Especially when I am outraged.
So, now what?
I was thinking we'd finish these beers, settle up, and then I'd get you to walk me home.
You'd get me to walk you home? Would I have any say in the matter?
Oh, none whatsoever. I have very pretty eyes and I can make them get all big and round so I can basically get people to do anything I want. Here, watch. Please.
Oh my god, put those away before you hurt somebody.
It's like a superpower. I'm basically a Batman villain.
You know, there is an alternative.
To you walking me home? Because, dude, I think you're gonna want...
No, I do want. I just... how much would it cost to, say, fix climate change?
Oh, that's a big one. Somewhere in the ballpark of $700 billion a year?
Well, see, there you go. If I was someone that wanted to solve climate change, but I only had $200 billion, wouldn't the best, most ethical thing I could do with that money be to, well, turn it into $700 billion?
I mean, no. Not if you, like if you're burning the world to get richer, that's not going to solve anything.
No, of course not. I'm just talking in the abstract. This isn't even
okay,
a real...
good, because
what
I
you're
just don't
talking about, obviously, isn't
Obviously.
the actual... No, I just mean this is all just a thought experiment.
you can see
no
how that's
one
a slippery-
person can actually stop the world from ending. That's my point.
No, I
that I'm
think
trying...
someone could.
Oh, okay, maybe in like a photographer level, but like in the real world, that's
I
not... Like,
cannot
would you just
wait
let
to
me
hear
talk
this.
for a second? I can see it, is all I'm saying. I can see why someone might not immediately sink all of their resources into solving one problem if there was something bigger and more meaningful they could do later on. And therefore, I can see why we might want to give your evil 7 or whatever a bit of latitude. That's all I'm saying.
You done? Cool, I'm gonna go home.
Well, Amy, hang on.
Pro tip, dude. Next time you're trying to pick up a grad school girl with tattoos and a shaved head, playing devil's advocate for the billionaire oligarchy is so not the move. See ya.
You know, this is exactly why McCandless hasn't approved any of your research proposals.
What did you just say to me?
You know, your proposals for the archives or fieldwork. You know how he keeps telling you to go back to the drawing board to think bigger? This is why. You never look at the big picture, Amy. You always just swing for the fences, and he knows it, and you know it.
And you, Adam fucking Blackwell, are so afraid of taking any swing at all that when your opportunity comes, you're gonna let it sail past you. And you know it.
And would we consider this one of your more successful first dates? No, don't answer that. Fieldwork that year was in Princess Elizabeth Land,
Yep.
which, just for the record, is in...
Antarctica. East Antarctica, to be precise. One of the flattest, most accessible parts of the continent.
And why did we want to go to this lovely place?
Well, they call it the Robinson Site. They found it a few years earlier, buried under the ice. Global warming and all. The remains of Anne Sereth. That's one of the great Harbinger cities, constructed about 4,000 years BC, according to the carbon testing. It was buried under nearly...
Whoa. What is this? What are we doing here?
What? Oh, come on. You're my lawyer, I'm your client, it's your office, and you're still going to tell me that I can't smoke?
Company policy. Apologies. Should I have Erica get you an ashtray?
No, don't bother. I'll just... Erun telka. There. Happy? Oh, shit. Sorry. It's a habit now. I forget that it's less fun for people now.
It's okay. It's okay. Where did you send it?
Away. Just away. Shall we?
Yes. Let's. Sorry. We were Antarctica. Dig site, ruins. McCandless was putting together an expedition.
Yeah. They'd been digging it up for a few years, which is really hard when half of the year is freezing darkness. Before sunset, the previous, April, they made a discovery. A crypt, or something like a crypt. Something at the very bottom of the excavation. McCandless wanted to go check it out.
And you got to go?
And I got to go.
But not Miss Sterling.
But not Miss Sterling.
Mm-hmm. And I presume that's where it happened? Right. December 15th, 2025. The world continues to reel after last night's announcement. What was supposed to be a simple archaeological expedition to the Australian sector of Antarctica may instead be remembered as a turning point in Western civilization. Following contact with the object now known as Article 0, mild-mannered graduate student Adam Blackwell has been given the ability to freely relocate matter at will.
I don't think the Times actually called me mild-mannered.
No, that was just me having a bit of fun. You went to the South Pole, found a thing, and suddenly you can do magic. Am I getting that right?
Not just any thing. This thing. Article 0. A Harbinger ring of magic.
But still, field trip, ring, boom, magic. That's the broad strokes of the thing. What happened when you got back to America? What happened after you got superpowers?
Oh, they're not superpowered. I came home, spent weeks going through tests, until finally they were satisfied. I really could do magic.
And after they let you go?
I went back to a little thing called my life. Finished my dissertation. I graduated in spring, started teaching at Sinclair in the fall.
Is that usual?
To get hired that fast? No. I was an exceptionally strong student, I had a good relationship with the head of the department, and news had just broken out that I could do fucking magic. Having me as an adjunct was the best and last ad Sinclair would ever need to run. So, they had me as an adjunct.
That first fall semester, you took over one of the survey classes. Introduction to Harbinger Linguistics. Catchy title. Was it popular?
Last time they'd run it, there were 4 people in the class. That fall, after they saw the enrollment forms, they moved me over to Sumter Hall. That's where they run movies on the weekends. It seats just shy of 350.
You taught a 350-person class on the mechanics of dead languages from 6,000 years ago?
No. The class was 450. If you didn't get there early, it was standing room only. Sinclair University, September 2026. Now, the name Harbingers is what is known as a secondary observer exonym. With some ancient cultures, we have some record of what they call themselves. Failing that, we can usually at least call people by the region they inhabited. These people lived in the Indus Valley, so let's take a wild leap and call them the Indus. Not saying that's a good practice, but it is a common practice. Now, with the Harbingers, you run into problems. We haven't found any records yet that point to what they call themselves. And as for geography, sites containing written records of the Harbingers' languages have been found in Atacama in South America, in remote islands in the south of Oceania, and most recently, in rural Ireland. They seem to mostly exist to make historians' lives difficult. It was actually one of the great mysteries of the age of exploration. People would sail from place to place and find these ancient objects with languages that weren't the ones spoken by the locals. Now imagine, you're a 17th century Irish sailor. You leave your little village where old man MacDonald found those spooky rocks with the strange carvings. You sail halfway around the world, and what do you find? More old spooky rocks with the same weird language nobody understands. Can you even imagine what that must have been like? In any case, they kept finding these really old artifacts all over the world, almost like this really old culture had been around before anyone else got their act together. That's where the name came from. Harbingers. Ones who came before. Now, it wasn't until the age of Antarctic exploration began in earnest that the real ruins of what is now known as the Harbinger Empire were discovered. But by then, the name had stuck, so what are you going to do? Now, I did say Harbinger languages in the plural. The modern theory is that these are actually contemporary languages. One was used for day-to-day activities, your regular please pass the salt sort of things. The other one was their, well, sacred is a loaded word, but their ritualistic language. It was only used for rites and special activities. For a long time, archaeologists referred to these as the day tongue and the night tongue. But a more accurate translation would be the language of the sun and the language of the stars. And needless to say, there's a lot more that the Harbingers wrote in the language of the sun, so we know comparatively little about how the language of the stars worked. Okay, we've only got a few minutes left, so we'll call this good for the day, rather than diving into a whole other topic. Does anyone have any questions?
Yep.
Any questions that don't have to do with my unusual abilities? Yeah. All right, everyone, I need you all to understand, this is a serious class, okay? I take the academic study of Harbinger languages seriously, and I expect you all to do the same. Anything else that I can do, that's not really what we're here for. Okay? which is why we are only going to do this once, okay? Okay, just a quick demonstration, and then we're done. All right. Folks in the front row, anyone have a quarter? You do? Okay, great. Thank you very much. Okay, just so we know that I am not pulling a fast one on you, I am going to take this marker and put an A on one side of the coin and a star on the other side, okay? Now, for most of human civilization, if we wanted to transport an object from here to there, we had to expend energy to move it across space, whether it was by carrying it ourselves or by using a burst of kinetic energy to set it in motion on its own. What I can do is transport matter from A to B without crossing the intermediary space. Okay, everybody ready? I think we're going to hear it more than see it with something this small, so shush, 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 shush. Here we go. 3, 2, per un lado ora kata. Okay, let's see. Where did it land? From the sound, I think it was around the second to last row, maybe? Does anybody... Yeah? You? You got it? And it's got the A and the star, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. From A to B in an instant. Now, how did I do that? Part of it is just mental focus. Part of it is the words. This, it seems, is what the language of the stars actually was, the Harbinger's way of channeling this ability. And part of it is the part we don't understand yet. I found this ring in a very old, very remote part of the world. And as long as I'm wearing it, well, it seems to let me do that. And it really seems like it takes all three, so in case the course catalog didn't make it clear, learning the words won't let you move things across space. Not on its own.
Could you do something bigger?
What was that? Could I transport something bigger? Bigger like what?
A person.
A person? Well, a person is tricky because what is a person? Is a person one thing or many? Like, what if I transported you to the middle of the quad and you went, but your clothes didn't? Yeah, that's not what we want. I have to be very precise with the language if I want to do it right. All right, that's time. Time was, it's a minute or two ago, actually. Please read chapters 3 and 4 of The Warner, and I will see you all here on Thursday.
The Harbingers will be back after these messages. And now, back to The Harbingers. Sinclair University, 2026, 10 minutes later.
All right, that wasn't too bad. One session down, 31 to go.
What did you stop yourself from saying?
Well. Amy Sterling.
Adam Blackwell. It's good to see you.
You too, Amy. Did you watch?
I snuck in the back about 5 minutes in. So, what did you stop yourself from saying? Come on. At the end, when they asked you about teleporting a person, you bit down on something. You said, what if you go, but your clothes don't? What did you almost say?
I almost said, what if you went, but your skin didn't?
Ah, lively.
I thought it's going to be a whole thing. It's their first day. I didn't want to freak them out.
Didn't want to put too much of the fear of you in them.
Oh, very funny, Amy. So, what brings you around these parts? They said you transferred.
They said the truth. Took my business to Columbia, the Big Apple, greener pastures and all that.
And are they actually greener?
Who knows? Kinda hard to tell with all the concrete. I'm just here to handle some paperwork and take some meetings. I'm flying back tomorrow, but I realized I hadn't seen you since...
Sure.
And I couldn't resist poking my head in here, seeing how your class was going.
How did I do? Any notes?
It was fine. Your fourth slide had some photos of the stuff they dug up at the Ryman. That's still not verified.
Oh, damn it. I'll take care of that. Anything else? What? What else? You're not really here to fill out paperwork, are you, Amy?
Nah. I had to see it. I had to see it with my own two eyes. You can do fucking magic, and you are... you are lecturing about carvings in goddamn rocks.
Yes, Amy, I am.
I cannot believe that you are lecturing about carvings.
And what should I be doing, Instead of being here, where am I supposed to be right now, Amy? Or what, am I not doing enough with my platform for you?
We are 54 days away from the midterm elections, Dr. Blackwell. Which political party do you support?
Okay. It's nice of you to drop by, Amy. I enjoy our little talks.
It's just... Fuck. I don't know what you should be doing, but dude, you can do magic. Literally the only thing that's a wrong answer to the question, what do you do if you get magic powers, is exactly the same fucking thing you would be doing if you didn't get the goddamn magic powers.
All right, Amy, this has been fun. Let's get together again the next time one of us develops magical abilities. In the meantime, have a good time at Columbia, where you'll also be looking at carvings of rocks.
You are such an asshole, Adam. No one has ever changed the world by sitting in an ivory tower. Magic is wasted on you.
And yet, I am the only one that can do it. It really is a shame you didn't get to come on that expedition, Amy. What could have been, right?
She has a point, you know.
Oh, she very much does not.
She does, though.
Aren't you my lawyer? What? A point about what?
A point about how nobody has ever changed the world by hiding in the ivory tower of intelligentsia.
Oh, for God's... Fritz Haber. You know the story?
Excuse me?
Okay. Fritz Haber. See, a lot of people have this mistaken idea that the apocalypse is something we've only had to worry about in recent years. But no. Actually, people have had concerns, very valid concerns, about the world coming to an end at practically every point in human existence. In the 1900s, you know what was at the top of the list of global concerns? Starvation. The world had reached an absolutely massive population, 1.5 billion people, and we could not produce enough food to feed them. The problem was our crops. They took up too much nitrogen in the soil, and it took too long to replenish it. So it was estimated that over the course of the following 20 agonizing years, 2/3 of the world would starve to death. But see, there was this guy, German chemist called Fritz Haber. Big thinker, real kind of ivory tower guy. He locked himself in his lab and figured out a way to make ammonia. You might be familiar with it. It practically extracts nitrogen from the air and is used to grow more than 3/4 of the goddamn crops in the world today. Bread from the air. That's what they called it in the newspapers. Bread from the air. It was seen as a miracle. And so, thanks to Mr. Haber, the world didn't starve, and we now have 9 billion humans. Over half of what we ate in the 20th century was thanks to his discoveries. And when we try to calculate which individual human beings are directly responsible for saving the most human lives, Fritz Haber is at the top of that list. So don't ever tell me that you can't change the world by taking time to figure shit out.
Okay. Is it my turn now? Great. Dr. Blackwell, could you do me a favor? Could you say a bit about Fritz Haber's work after 1912?
What?
Fritz Haber, this man who you clearly think so highly of. 1913 and onwards. What did he get up to?
He became involved in World War I. He invented the chlorine gas that the German army used against the Allies, and he personally oversaw much of its deployment.
Which is why he is often called
The father of chemical warfare.
And after World War I, any other major contributions to European history? Dr. Blackwell?
He developed a gas. A pesticide gas which had a warning scent. After his death, it was discovered and reformulated so it no longer had that warning scent.
And what was it called? Before and after the reformulation.
Zyklon A and Zyklon B.
I need you to stop doing that.
You need me to stop doing what? Answering your questions?
Losing your temper and going on a 3-minute screed about the achievements of a German war criminal.
Wait, but look, he was involved in monstrous things, but that
really?
doesn't...
We're doubling down on the merits of, what was it? The father of chemical warfare? This is going to be a very hard process, you know. If you're going to get through it, I need you to be able to not get baited into saying or doing something stupid.
That won't be a problem.
Won't it? What happened on August 16th, 2028?
Well, that's... Fuck.
Dr. Blackwell, what happened?
I was here in New York. I'd been asked to speak at an event at the UN. New York City, 2028. Thank you. Keep the change.
Well, well, well. Look who actually made it off campus for once.
Oh, good. You're here. And this has been such a pleasant day so far.
Is that any way to say hello to a dear old friend, Dr. Blackwell?
Hello, Amy. How inevitable to see you.
That's more like it. Hello, Adam.
What are you doing here?
Same thing you are. Loading up on caffeine and then walking over to today's event.
You're also speaking at the UN.
I am.
And nobody told me.
No.
Which I'm guessing is thanks to...
It is.
Well, thanks for that. I like the hair, by the way. Is that part of the brand now?
Something like that. I thought you liked the shaved head look.
Well, I had awful taste back when I was still a grad student. So, how you been? How's the tour?
Tour's on hold for a bit. I'm doing some events with the campaign.
Oh, yes. I saw your endorsement video.
And I can't help but notice that I haven't seen yours. May I ask what the fuck is taking you so long? Don't tell me you actually want Walker to get reelected.
I keep telling you, Amy, I'm just a private citizen. I don't see how it's my place to tell anyone which way they should vote.
Oh my god, sometimes I forget just how full of shit you are. And then it's like, oh right, he's totally full of shit.
I'm doing well, by the way. It's translation work on the materials from the Ryman expedition.
I really couldn't give less of a shit, Adam. Now, come on. You gonna do this thing or what?
You know, Amy, you can say that you don't care all you want, but unfortunately for you, I know you. I know how much you love this stuff, the translation, the discovery. I know how curious you must be. What the fuck has he been doing, cooped up in there all these years? What is he capable of now?
Oh, it's so cute the way you flatter yourself.
Oh, if you think that's cute.
All right, Mr. Special. You really want me to believe you're not just doing coin tricks like some birthday party magician? Let's see it. No, come on, Doctor. You want me to believe you can do something that's worth my time? Let's see it. Impress a girl.
Erolia parus calera pora condel.
You made my coffee cup disappear,
Yes, I did.
but didn't make my coffee go with it.
No, I did not.
So now, there is quite a bit of nitro cold brew all over my clothes. You are a child.
Come on, Amy. This is an important event. Don't want to be late.
Oh, you are still an asshole, Adam Blackwell. Where did you put my coffee cup anyway?
How long did it take before someone finally found this stupid coffee cup?
6 weeks, give or take.
Mm-hmm. And it was this photograph that did it, yes?
That's the one. Yep.
Just for the record, could you please verbally describe it?
It is a photo taken by the extremely large telescope array of the Sea of Tranquility.
Which is a part of...
The moon. And about 5 meters to the left of the lunar landing site, there is now a coffee cup.
The moon. You put a cup of coffee on the moon because your ex-girlfriend double dog dared you to.
Miss Skinner, this is all... My relationship with Miss Sterling is very particular due to... Okay. What you need to understand is...
You say that a lot, you know. What you need to understand is this. What you need to understand is that you are very worried about how you are seen. I'm going to help you figure this all out, but I need you to let me help you. Okay? All right. That is all for today.
Really?
This is plenty for one day. And I have another interview to conduct in a little while. We can pick up this fun tomorrow morning, bright and early.
Right. Well, I'll see you tomorrow then.
$1,800 an hour. That's how much I'm being paid to get you across the river.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Skinner.
And while I will not have you smoking anywhere in my offices, you'll find I'm less particular about what happens on the balcony on the east side of the building.
Sure. You got it. Day 1 down. Just another 5 million more of these to go.
Those things are gonna kill you, you know. Unless you're so good now that you can just teleport the cancer straight out of your lungs.
I don't think I'm quite there yet.
Oh, in that case, you might want to quit while you're behind.
I'll take it under advisement. Miss Sterling?
Dr. Blackwell?
I thought your residency didn't end until the 14th.
Oh, all the shows are canceled for a bit. You know, it's hard to compete with the,
Everything?
Yeah. With the everything. I keep thinking I'm gonna see it. You know? Every time I look up. I know it's too small and too far away, but I keep thinking it'll be there. Staring back at me.
Yeah, I know. Me too.
You doing okay?
Nah. You?
Nah. Not exactly what I had in mind for this year.
No?
No. I thought there'd be more books. I thought I'd read more this year. More books and less...
Everything? You read McCandless's new book?
Yeah, I got an advanced copy. I can't believe that old fucker is trying to say that I was not a good student. Her proposals were never specific enough. My ass.
Well, can you blame him? You are the one that got away.
Damn right I am. How'd it go in there?
Oh, I pretty much just spent the last couple hours getting bitch slapped. It was fine.
And? How are you feeling?
Tired. Tired and guilty.
Don't say that. It isn't over yet. It's barely even gotten started.
That's not what I meant, Amy. I think this is usually the point in the conversation where you yell at me and tell me I'm an asshole.
You are an asshole, Adam Blackwell. But for all our sakes, I hope it turns out you're an asshole who knew what he was doing.
Miss Sterling, Miss Skinner's ready for you.
Well, I gotta...
Yeah. Duty calls. Good luck.
Yeah. See you around, Adam.
All right, ready to get started? This is Claudia Skinner, case MGR 831. This is information prep session number 2. It is November 7th, 2030. Miss Sterling, would you please state your full name and the capacity in which you have become known as a public figure?
This is Amelia Dorothy Sterling, and I perform under the name The Silver Witch. For 3 years now, I have been able to manifest supernatural abilities. I am the second documented person in the world capable of performing magic.
Thank you. Miss Sterling, do you know what I would like to talk to you about?
Well, if I had to take a guess, I'd say maybe it's about how I started a chain of events that resulted in the most powerful man in the world teleporting the city of Boston to the moon. I mean, it's either that or mojito recipes. No, you want to talk about the Boston thing.
Please.
Okay. Where would you like to begin?
This has been The Harbingers, created by Gabriel Urbina. Come back tomorrow for Episode 2, The Season of the Witch. Today's episode was written by Gabriel Urbina. It was directed and sound designed by Jeffrey Nils Gardner. It featured the voices of Andres Enriquez as Adam Blackwell, Lauren Grace Thompson as Amy Sterling, Emmy Bean as Claudia Skinner, and Kristen DiMercurio as Erica Pfeiffer. Today's episode also featured the voice of Olivia Love Hattlestead. Our original music was composed by Nicholas Spadani. Recording engineering and dialogue editing was by Jolyn Wu. Our original art was created by Cassie J. Allen. The executive producer for this series is Eleanor Hyde. We'd like to give a special thanks to Joshua K. Harris, Felix, Krista DeAgostino, and Olivia Love Hattlestead for their work on the development of the series and its original pilot episode. You can learn more about the show, see a timeline of the events of our story, and become a supporting member at audaciousmachinecreative.com. This is an Audacious Machine Creative production. Thank you for listening.
Today's history tidbit. On October 14th, 1998, Australian archaeologists first discovered the ruins of An Serith,